Hey everybody, welcome back to the ranch. Dr. Uptown here. Hey, getting ready to go to the range this morning. Several other members of the gun community have put up videos recently about folks getting on there and doing stupid stuff with guns on YouTube. Basically, I guess the premise is to try to get a large number of views or whatever, but I've noticed it too lately with people doing things like so-and-so shot themselves in the head or whatever, wielding their guns around, regardless of whether it's a airsoft pistol or not. I have to agree. I mean, that's just stupid. It's stupid behavior. It's behavior that asks, begs for anti-gunners to take these video excerpts and say, hey, look at all the idiot gun people. See what they're doing. This is exactly what we're talking about. And so, well, over the last few days, I've been involved with one of the forums that I am a member of, and it's a forum that I actually had kind of forgotten about. At some point or another, I had joined them several years ago and perused around the forum, and for whatever reason, I'm sure it was during one of my infamous computer failures that the link was lost, and I just never refound the forum to go back to. But anyway, I happened to get turned back to this forum by a member friend of mine on one of the forums that I'm on daily. He turned me on to this post that had been put up by an individual, and what this individual had done was basically took Assad Abu's 10 Commandments of CCW and rewritten them and put his own logic as to why each point should be followed. And during that post, he actually promotes several things that in an everyday walking down the street situation would probably be fine. His post starts out fine enough, and he promotes these as must-do things. But, you know, like I say in the beginning, he starts off with, you know, you've been involved in a self-defense situation, you've shot the bad guy, you know, make a 360-degree sweep, make sure there's no additional bad actors involved. And then he goes wrong. I mean, he just flat out goes wrong with his advice. The first thing he promotes is that you take your paracord bracelet that you've got on and tie this bad actor who's now injured or possibly dead up to restrain him from further bad acting. He then goes on and promotes that, you know, if need be, you should start CPR. But he doesn't promote it in the fact that you should start CPR because, you know, you want to do the right thing and save the guy's life. He promotes that you start CPR because it'll make you, as the CCW holder, look good out, but brings them out in kind of the wrong fashion. I mean, he brings up the point that, you know, nowadays, you know, everybody probably has a video camera out, and so more than likely it'll get captured on video that you're doing CPR on this person and trying to save his life. And that's true. I mean, yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of cameras. There's going to be surveillance cameras in the area and stuff, and there's going to be other people in the area and stuff that are going to get their cell phones out and they're going to videotape. The problem with doing the CPR is how is CPR going to look to the average Joe individual who is seeing the video without any context, or even more so, the district attorney who's looking at the video and wants to make their own context. For those of you that don't know, CPR is, for lack of a better terminology, is a violent assault on the body. One of the things that's not really promoted by the community that promotes CPR, be it Red Cross or American Heart Association or whatever, is just they don't want to scare people off. But if you're doing proper CPR, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to separate the sternum from the rest of the ribs. And more than likely, you're going to break several ribs. And as most of you know, especially those guys that are preppers and stuff and read these kind of things, broken ribs tend to punch holes in things, be it lung tissue or heart tissue or whatever. And this is where I have the issue with it, because when that bad guy who you shot because he was doing something bad goes to autopsy, they're not going to be able to necessarily tell what damage you caused by trying to do CPR and what damage was caused by your bullet. Or something they might find is that you've shot the bad guy 3 or 4 times, 5 or 6 or however many, but none of the actual holes that you caused by shooting the bad guy were actually what killed him. In fact, doing your CPR caused a broken rib, and that's lacerated his heart, and that's what caused him to die. Well, it's not really going to matter that you attempted to save the guy's life after you shot him in that case. All that's going to matter is after you shot him, you caused a subsequent injury which killed him. That's probably not going to end up being a good shoot for you, because it's not really going to matter whether you killed him because you shot him or whether you killed him because you tried to save him. I think what you'll find if you do some research is that people who are a hell of a lot smarter than me will tell you that once you've shot the guy in a self-defense situation, leave the guy lay. Let the professionals handle it. That way it can't come back that you caused additional injury, which caused the bad guy's death. I'll pause you for a minute. I gotta get out of here. Alright, I'm back. So anyway, to continue on, this individual who put this original post up, he's advised you to render first aid to the bad guy, and he's advised you to start CPR on the bad guy after you've tied him up. those points in themselves are bad enough. But then he advises that you should, once you've done this, you know, and you've made yourself look good to first responders in, that you should, you know, go ahead and holster your weapon, identify yourself to the police officers. Advise them that, you know, this guy tried to kill you and you were able to fight back, as it were, and there he is. So don't say anything to the police, which probably is what most any lawyer would advise you to do. But go ahead and give them your identification, your concealed carry license. Of course, they'll take your weapon. But don't worry, because, you know, once everything all checks out on scene, they'll give you all that back and let you go home, which ain't gonna happen. If you just shot somebody, more than likely you could probably plan on spending the night at the police station, or at least a number of hours until things are all cleared up and it's pretty obvious what the situation is. But realistically, getting your gun back probably is not going to happen that night, and most likely will probably take a court order to get it back. And if the situation plays out that there's going to be a trial and so forth, then you're definitely not going to get it back until after that's over. But where he went wrong, and this is the big one, and this is the one I just don't understand, because this post has been active on this particular website. I'm not going to mention it just simply because I don't want to get into that. You know, if you guys decide that you want to pursue this further, get a hold of me. I'll give you the website and tell you where it's at. But this is the big one, and this is the one that I have the humongous problem with, is his next piece of advice is that if the police persist in questioning you, if it just looks like they're just going to run you through the meat grinder, and that's a quote from him, then what you need to do is tell them that you're having chest pain and that you may be having a heart attack. And his logic is they'll send you to the hospital to get that checked out, because obviously they don't want you dying on it, which is probably true. But that'll get you out of the questioning, because they're not going to question you in the hospital, and if you get admitted to the hospital, they're certainly not going to question you in the ICU. And that is dead wrong advice on so many levels. The first place that it's dead wrong is they are definitely going to send you to the hospital, and they are definitely going to follow you to the hospital. And when you're in the hospital, they are definitely going to question you in the hospital. And if you get admitted to ICU, they'll probably question you in ICU. It's just the way life is. It's going to happen. But here's the big one on this. If you follow his advice, if you choose to follow his advice, what you have done is you've just lied to the police. You've told the police that you're having chest pain and you're really not, to avoid questioning. So now you're involved in a criminal investigation that if you follow his advice, you've now lied to the police, because they'll find out that you really weren't having a heart attack, and they'll find out that you really weren't having any kind of a cardiac event. So now you've lied to the police during a criminal investigation. So they're going to start looking at you and going, wait a minute, if you've gone to the trouble to lie to us about your heart condition and the fact that you were having chest pain, what else have you lied about? Now this is going to take a DA about 30 seconds to start really making up his own story as to what happened. And it's not going to be a good thing, because what's going to end up happening is your ass is going to go to jail for a long time. And you'll be lucky if an attorney can get you off of the murder one charge, let alone the lying to the police charge. So why am I bringing this up to you? Well, I don't know. Like I say, I originally wasn't going to get into following up with a similar video to what the other guys are doing as to dumbass videos on YouTube. But like I say, this particular post has bothered me. It's bothered me that it's actually been up on this website for over 2 years, and that the administrator to this website has allowed this. What I find interesting about it is the OP is also a moderator to this website, and in doing some research, what I've found is that he has in the past deleted posts that were negative, and he bumps this same post throughout the entire thread, which right now is about 13 pages, at least 6 or 7 times. So what he's done is he's used his moderation ability to go through this post and keep the positive comments and sanitize the negative comments that have been made to it. And when he runs across a comment that he really can't justify removing, he rebumps his post. He sells it as gospel, and that gospel are things that will end somebody up in jail. But moreover, what it does is it does the same thing as these videos where these dumbasses are getting on here and improperly handling or improperly utilizing firearms. And what it does is that, again, gives ammunition to anti-gun groups, the mainstream media, and the government to say, hey, look, sure, there may be 80 million firearm owners, but look at what they're doing. Look at how they act. Look at the cowboy antics that they promote. And this is the problem I have with this. Anyway, made it to the range here. I'm going to leave you with these thoughts. Like I say, if you really want to know who the website is, because many of you may be members on it, I don't know. But if you really want to know, PM me and I'll give you the website and tell you what the post is. But what I would do, if you're really interested in doing that, is get on there, read the post for yourself, make your own decision on what you want to do with it, and contact the administrator of that site and ask them to take that post down, because it's absolutely ludicrous. And it's right there at the top of the page because the OP, since he's a moderator, has made it a sticky. So, anyway, I'll leave you guys with this. I'll talk to you later. It's Dr. Uptown. We're out.